Hello, the rare gems. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. Ram Dass. Dear powerful souls, have you ever felt the sting of jealousy from others and wondered why it seems to follow you around, whether in school, work, or even close relationships? You're not alone in this. People can be uncomfortable with your strength, your presence, and the way you move through the world without needing to fit into anyone's expectations. It's not about what you've done wrong. It's about what you've done right. You see, Sigma females don't seek approval or validation from others. You walk in your own truth, and that makes some people uneasy. They're jealous because your confidence comes from within, not from external sources. They envy your ability to stand apart, to create your own path, and to be unapologetically yourself. But here's the thing. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You've got a quiet power that radiates. And that's what gets under the skin of those who can't tap into their own. The world doesn't know how to handle someone who is fully content and empowered without the need to chase attention, drama, or approval. So, if you've ever wondered why people are jealous of you, trust me, it's because you embody a rare form of strength, independence, and authenticity. Watch this video to dive into the reasons why your very existence disrupts the status quo and celebrate the powerful Sigma female you truly are. Let's get started, the rare gems. Number 1. Their energy feels like an unreadable book. People are used to sizing others up in seconds, figuring out their weaknesses, predicting their next move, and in many cases using that knowledge to their advantage. It's almost second nature. But then, they meet a Sigma female. And suddenly it's like staring at a book written in a language they've never seen before. No subtitles, no hints, just pure mystery. Sigma females don't wear their emotions on their sleeves. They don't give away their thoughts with exaggerated reactions. And most importantly, they don't need anyone to decode them because they aren't seeking approval in the first place. This is where the frustration begins. People crave predictability. They want to know if you like them, if they can manipulate you, if they hold any power over you. But with a Sigma female, there's no clear answer. They can't tell if she's impressed, annoyed, or completely indifferent. That kind of unreadability drives people insane. In social situations, people try harder, probing, testing, throwing bait just to get a reaction. And when nothing works, they label her as cold, arrogant, or too distant. But the truth? She's simply not giving them access to parts of her that haven't been earned. The jealousy creeps in when they realize they can't figure her out. She's unpredictable, but never reckless, reserved, but never weak. She operates on a level of self-control that most people wish they had. And because they can't read her, they assume she's hiding something. Power, wisdom, or a depth they'll never reach. That's why people envy her, because in a world where everyone is an open book, she's a locked diary, and they hate not having the key. Number 2, they refuse to play the nice girl game. In a world that celebrates niceness, where being overly agreeable, apologetic, and eager to please is seen as the ultimate virtue, Sigma females stand apart. They don't play the game. Society wants women to be soft, sweet, and endlessly accommodating, expecting them to shrink their opinions and silence their needs just to make everyone else comfortable. But a Sigma female? She doesn't bend to these rules. She is kind, but it's a choice, not a requirement. Her kindness comes from a place of genuine care, not from a desire to fit into a mold or avoid conflict. What sets her apart is this: she refuses to compromise her dignity for anyone's approval. If being nice means letting people walk all over her or silencing her voice, she's not interested. She's not afraid to speak up, to challenge, or to say no when necessary. And while some people may label her as cold or difficult, it's the truth they're intimidated by. She doesn't need to earn anyone's love by being overly agreeable. She loves herself too much for that. This refusal to play by society's rules? It's infuriating to those who've spent years mastering the art of people-pleasing. But they don't see it as power. They see it as defiance. And that's why they envy her. Because the Sigma female isn't just nice for the sake of it. She's real. And that authenticity is far more valuable than any fake smile or hollow pleasantry. Number 3, they don't fall for manufactured drama. Drama. It's everywhere. The gossip, the petty arguments, the constant squabbles that seem to consume people's lives. For most, It's an addictive distraction. They get emotionally tangled, sucked into the mess, feeding off the chaos and conflict. But not a Sigma female. She sees it for what it truly is, a waste of time. While others stir the pot, digging into rumors and fueling unnecessary tension, she stays above it all. She's not interested in playing games or getting involved in pointless feuds. The drama that others thrive on doesn't even register for her. It's like background noise, a distraction that she's learned to tune out. This level of detachment makes her almost unreachable. People throw tantrums, they gossip, they play their petty little games, expecting her to bite. But she doesn't. She simply moves forward, unbothered and focused on what truly matters. She doesn't waste energy on nonsense, and that frustrates the people who thrive on chaos. They resent her ability to remain calm and collected while they're drowning in the emotional mess they've created for themselves. They look at her like she's immune to the drama they can't escape. And in a way, she is. She's not just above it, she sees through it. And that's what makes her so powerful. She refuses to be dragged into distractions, and her ability to stay focused reveals just how small their petty problems really are. Number 4, they own their power. There's no pretending with Sigma females. What you see is what you get, a woman who knows her worth, who doesn't question or apologize for it. She carries her power with effortless grace, moving through life with a quiet confidence that doesn't need to be announced. Her strength isn't flashy or loud, it's grounded, unshakable, and self-assured. She doesn't chase validation or seek approval because she already knows who she is and what she brings to the table. For others, this is a foreign concept. They're still lost in the struggle to figure out their own power, their purpose, their identity. They search for it outside of themselves, through relationships, jobs, and the opinions of others. But a Sigma female? She doesn't need any of that. Her power comes from within, and it's something that no one can take away. This self-possession is what makes people so jealous. They watch her move with effortless poise, owning every room she steps into, and they wonder how she does it. They're still chasing their own sense of self, still trying to fit the mold society has set for them. Meanwhile, the Sigma female is carving her own path, living life on her own terms. And that's the real reason why others are envious. It's not just her strength that they admire, it's the way she's completely at home in it. She doesn't need to prove anything because she already knows her worth. And that, my friend, is the most powerful thing of all. At number 5, they aren't afraid to be different. Being a Sigma female is about embracing your uniqueness and living it unapologetically. While society thrives on conformity, constantly pushing people to fit into predefined boxes, a Sigma female refuses to be molded by the world's expectations. She doesn't try to blend in, nor does she seek approval from the masses. In fact, she sees normal as the greatest form of limitation. For her, being different is not just an option, it's a way of life. This refusal to conform is where the envy and jealousy stem from. Society isn't kind to those who dare to stand apart. When people like the Sigma female walk through life on their own terms, it feels like an attack on the very foundation of what's considered normal. They challenge the status quo and remind everyone that it's possible to live authentically, without hiding behind labels, traditions, or the false comfort of fitting in. The courage it takes to stay true to yourself, despite the pressure to be like everyone else, is what makes others uneasy. They envy her fearlessness, wishing they had the same strength to step outside the lines of expectation. It's not easy to stand alone when the world constantly demands you to be a part of the crowd. But the Sigma female embraces this challenge, not as a burden, but as an opportunity to define herself on her own terms. And in doing so, she becomes a beacon for those who are afraid to be different, exposing the fear and self-doubt that holds others back. That's why they feel threatened by her, because she dares to live in a way they never thought possible, and it forces them to confront their own limitations. Number 6, they reject fake hierarchies. Most people live by an unspoken rule: respect those with titles, follow the ones at the top, and play the game to climb higher. They believe that power comes from status, connections, and appearances. But then there's the Sigma female, who walks into the room and doesn't care about any of it. She doesn't bow to authority just because someone has a fancy title. She doesn't suck up to the so-called popular crowd. And she sure as hell doesn't chase validation from people she doesn't even respect. This rattles people deeply. See, most social systems rely on people believing in them. The boss expects employees to flatter him. The queen bee at work assumes everyone wants to be in her circle. The guy who thinks his wealth makes him superior assumes everyone will treat him differently. But when a Sigma female doesn't react the way they expect, when she treats everyone the same until they prove themselves, suddenly their whole illusion starts to crack. She respects earned power, wisdom, skill, integrity. If you have real strength, she'll recognize it. But if you're just wearing a crown made of smoke, she'll see right through you. And this is where the jealousy kicks in. People who've spent their whole lives climbing fake hierarchies need others to believe in them. But a Sigma female? She simply doesn't buy into the system. And when she refuses to play the game, it exposes just how empty the game really is. That's why they envy her, because she's free from the illusion they're still trapped in. Number 7. They are self-sustaining forces. Most people are plugged into something. They rely on relationships for emotional stability, jobs for self-worth, and social circles for validation. Their confidence isn't theirs. It's borrowed from external sources. But a Sigma female? She's a closed system. She generates her own happiness, her own success, her own sense of purpose, and that drives people insane. See, most people need others to function. They need a group to feel important. They need an audience to feel seen. They need someone else to tell them they're valuable. But a Sigma female? She doesn't need, she is. Her confidence doesn't waver just because she's alone. Her success doesn't depend on someone else's approval. Her happiness isn't something others can give or take away. And that's where the jealousy comes in. Because when someone is truly self-sustaining, they can't be controlled. You can't guilt-trip them into staying. You can't withhold love, attention, or validation to manipulate them. You can't make them need you because they never did in the first place. People resent that kind of independence because it exposes their own dependencies. It makes them question why they're so emotionally tied to things that don't actually serve them. And instead of facing that truth, they project their frustration onto the Sigma female, labeling her as cold, distant, or too independent. But the truth? They don't hate her. They want to be her. Because deep down, they wish they had that level of unshakable self-sufficiency. At number 8, they don't crumble under pressure, they get sharper. When life hits hard, most people buckle. The stress, the chaos, the weight of expectations, it's too much, and they react impulsively, letting emotions drive their actions. But a Sigma female? She doesn't crumble. She gets sharper. Where others panic, she pauses. While others collapse under pressure, she analyzes. Every challenge becomes an opportunity for strategy. She adapts quickly, adjusts her approach, and emerges stronger than before. It's as if pressure sharpens her mind, hones her focus, and refines her instincts. People watch in awe as she handles crises with grace. They're scrambling, overwhelmed, drowning in the pressure, while she's calmly reevaluating, recalibrating, and positioning herself for the next move. And the longer they observe, the more they realize just how little control they have over their own reactions. This resilience? It's not something everyone possesses, and it's why people envy her. Because when the world crumbles, when everything falls apart, the Sigma female doesn't just survive, she thrives. She finds ways to turn adversity into an advantage, and that level of mental fortitude exposes the fragility of everyone else around her. It's unnerving for those who rely on quick fixes or emotional outbursts to navigate stress. Because when they see how she handles pressure with poise and precision, it forces them to confront their own weaknesses. And instead of growing from it, they resent her for the strength they wish they had. Number 9, they're unapologetically themselves, even when it's unpopular. In a world that constantly pressures people to conform, to fit into molds, and to be liked, most individuals morph into whatever version of themselves is most acceptable. They say the right things, wear the right clothes, and make sure they're always in line with what's popular. But a Sigma female, she couldn't care less about fitting in. She is unapologetically herself, even when it costs her social points. She doesn't bend to the crowd's expectations. She doesn't follow trends just to feel included. Her authenticity is non-negotiable, and if that means standing alone, she'll stand alone. Most people are terrified of the social fallout that comes from rejecting conformity. They fear being different, the judgment, the isolation, the labels. But the Sigma female, she welcomes it. She knows that when you're true to yourself, it's not about being liked by everyone. It's about being true to you. This unwavering authenticity is both a blessing and a curse. People envy her for it because it challenges their own spinelessness, their willingness to hide their true selves just to be accepted. They hate that she doesn't care about approval. They wish they could be as brave, as unapologetic, as free, but instead of learning from her courage, they resent her. It's unnerving to be around someone who has no fear of rejection, who has no need to mold herself into a more acceptable version. And the Sigma female knows that when you stand firm in your authenticity, the world may try to break you, but it only reveals their own weakness. At number 10, they don't chase love. While most people desperately seek connections, the Sigma female views relationships as optional, not essential. She's not against love, far from it. She craves it, cherishes it, and is fully capable of giving and receiving love in abundance. But she doesn't chase it. Love, for her, is not something she needs to search for or hold on to desperately. It's something she invites when the time is right. But she's not willing to settle for anything less than a love that is as deep, authentic, and self-sustaining as she is. The fact that she doesn't run after love, yet still manages to attract it effortlessly, makes her magnetic in ways that drive others mad with envy. It's the subtle power of being whole without a relationship, yet still radiating a presence that makes people want to be near her. Others scramble for affection, constantly chasing after the next connection, often driven by fear or loneliness. But not the Sigma female. She stands firm in her independence, knowing that when love comes, it should add to her life, not complete it. Make no mistake, though, the Sigma female isn't cold or detached. She loves love deeply. When she gives it, it's given fully and without reservation. She just understands that the right kind of love comes when two whole individuals find each other, not when two halves try to make something work out of desperation. This deep understanding of self-sufficiency in love makes her even more desirable, because she's not just waiting for love, she's living her life on her terms, and that's the kind of energy that draws real, lasting affection. Number 11. They don't have to prove themselves. Most people live in constant performance mode. They over-explain their choices, justify their worth, and desperately seek recognition. Every move they make is followed by a speech, a post, or a plea for validation. But a Sigma female? She doesn't play that game. She never has to say, "Look at me," because her results already did the talking. This is what makes people jealous. In a world where everyone is shouting, she remains silent. Yet somehow her presence is louder than all of them combined. She doesn't seek credit for every little thing she does. She doesn't beg people to see her value. And she definitely doesn't waste energy convincing doubters. If someone can't see her worth, that's their problem, not hers. And that's what makes her so intimidating. Most people rely on approval to feel secure, but a Sigma female's confidence comes from within. She knows she's capable, she knows she's valuable, and that unshakable certainty frustrates those who need constant validation just to function. People will test her, they'll challenge her, hoping she'll break and start explaining herself, but she never does. Because she understands something most don't. Truth needs no defense. If she's great at what she does, time will prove it. If she deserves respect, it will come naturally. No speeches, no pleading, just quiet, undeniable success. And that's why they envy her, because while they're exhausting themselves trying to be seen, she's already recognized without saying a word. In conclusion, if you've recognized yourself in any of the 11 reasons why people envy Sigma females, take a moment to appreciate just how powerful that realization is. The truth is, being a Sigma female isn't about conforming to someone else's idea of success or popularity. It's about embracing your authentic self, unapologetically. It's about rejecting the need for validation from others and owning your space in this world. and that's what makes you stand out. You don't need to chase affection, fit into molds, or follow the crowd. Instead, you forge your own path, trusting your instincts and abilities, whether people understand it or not. That's where the envy comes from, the fact that you don't need anyone's approval to live fully, to thrive on your own, or to make things happen. The way you handle stress, love, and even rejection shows a deep sense of self-worth that others struggle to attain. So don't let their jealousy make you second-guess who you are. People will always try to pull you into their expectations or criticize you for your uniqueness. But remember, the very things they envy are the things that make you powerful. The way you don't conform, don't chase, and don't settle for anything less than what you deserve, it's what sets you apart and makes you unforgettable. You are a rare breed, and while that may make some uncomfortable, it's your strength. Own it. Keep being unapologetically you. The world doesn't know how to handle someone who doesn't need it to survive, and that's exactly why you're the one they'll never forget. Thanks for watching The Rare Gems. See you in our next video. Bye for now, and God bless.